Hey everyone, Scotty Wick back here to talk you through some coding. What we're going to be doing today is we are going to be coding a multi-ball on pizza time. What this one is the UFO multi-ball. How you achieve this in the table is that you're going to hit each one of these 5 stand-up targets. You can see them here. I'm clicking on them. Once you have all those lit, that light's lock. You'll hit a lock. You do it again. You hit another lock. You do it again, and then you're into multi-ball. So this is kind of an ancillary multi-ball because you'll actually be working on the table doing, when you're playing, doing other things, collecting ingredients and whatever else. This is kind of a side one. So we're not really concerned that the player is actually going for this, but we want them to be able to if they want. And so let's look at what we're going to do on this. I've pre-coded some of this stuff because otherwise this video, it would literally take forever. And yeah, so if you're sitting down getting ready to code your table, you do need to know that this is time consuming. It's not a fast process, but it is very rewarding. So let's go ahead and look at what we're going to be working on here. The orbital. So this is a file. I don't have it exactly ready yet, but I'll go ahead and post it to GitHub and put a link in this video. And you'll see what I've done is I'm trying to do as much of the base framework, like loading core and math, global constants. So I've built all these chunks in here so that it's very easy to scan. And the majority of this file that we're looking at here is just going to be generalized stuff to run a pinball table. You can see here where we're quite a ways down that we're getting the platform script there. So there's a lot of stuff in here that you will need to tinker with, and your lights and all the rest of that stuff. We can get to that in a further video. But for this one, we're just going to talk through getting a multi-ball, getting a play all the way multi-ball. So, anyways, this will help you for sure to be able to tinker with and to be able to have a lot of this going. And most of this stuff, is from JP or, is from Monster Bash PinCap guys. There's a lot of collaboration here in what makes up this base script. Anyways, so let's look at where we're starting here. Apologize that my voice is extra grainy today. It's early, and my voice is it's deep. But anyway, so what we've got here. So what we need to do is when you're coding in Pinball, a lot of this, how we're going to think about this is that you're making dimensions, and you're defining those, you're giving them values, and then you're reacting to those values. So what I mean by that is, if we hit something, and then let's just say we wanted to hit that thing, and we had defined it as thing 1. And when we hit it, we could say thing 1 started at false, and now let's change it to true. And that's simple enough, right? So it was at one thing, it's now the other. And then you can build, how we're going to think about this is then we build from there. So we say, okay, well, if thing 1 is true, then I want you to turn this light on. And so that seems pretty straightforward. And then we would say, well, okay, if that light is on, then I want something else to happen. So when we're thinking through the code here, and obviously there's going to be a little bit of different ways of saying it's on or not on, all that kind of stuff. But when we're thinking through the code, that's the base of what we're going to be doing on almost all of this. And there are cleaner, better, smarter ways to code everything I do in here, guaranteed. But the main thing you should come down to is your code is not wrong if it works. So just keep, it doesn't matter how big it is. The table's going to run fine and clean as long as you're coding it all in here. Just make sure that you're, trying to keep a record of what you're actually doing and your thoughts around it. Because otherwise, once you get to a full table, it's going to get really difficult to unpack what you actually did, even if you step away from it for a week and you come back, you'd be like, oh my God, I can't even remember. But anyways, so let's get into this. What we have here is a UFO lock, right? So we know we want to have a lock. So I need a dimension for a lock, and this is a numeric one, meaning that it's not going to be a true false. This actually, I need it to hold a number for me. So when something needs to hold a number, and we'll look at, actually, let's just look at that right now. So why would this need to hold a number? Well, when a player comes back, we need to know if its UFO is locked, has a value of 1, 2, or 3. So where they're at in that. I've put 4 because I generally just like to bake in an extra number just in case, right? Who knows? Maybe I'll want to use it later, but either way. So if we look down here, and this won't make a whole lot of sense right now, but this is saying if we hit that kicker, so our dugout, then whatever the UFO lock number is, we want it to be UFO lock plus 1 more. And then we build a case in here to say, okay, well, if that number now equals 2, then do this. If that number equals 3, do this. So again, we'll get back to really what that means as far as the coding goes, but that's why that's a numeric value. We have so then we have this 4. So if we're doing something like this, like a numeric value, then we need to give it a dimension to iterate through, meaning we need the system to be able to check if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So to do that, it needs a function to be able to understand that. So what we've done here is we made a simple dimension called I. You could call it whatever you want. And this one is just saying for I if it equals 0 to 4. So it knows that those are the options that it now has available for it, because they could be 0, they could be 1, 2, 3, or it could be 4. So it has those, and we're just going to say UFO lock I, meaning for that sequence equals 0. So what we're saying there is this game has just started. It needs to be a 0. So we've just set its base value to 0. And so that just makes it so that when I start a new game, it's at 0. So you've got to, in a lot of these, we're going to be defining it, the variable, and then we're going to be setting its base level. So the next one, let's look at UFO light lock. That's something that whenever I find, so we're going to write a script around to say, whenever we find that all 5 of these lights are lit, light the lock. Which means we'll turn something else on. And so since this table has just started, obviously lock shouldn't be lit. So we're just going to set that to false. The next one is UFO 1 on. And that's going to check, that's checking for if our UFO 1 is on. And the reason I'm setting this isn't something that we would have to necessarily do. This is because I'm setting it up for possibly in the future to be able to remember your lights and where they were. Currently, the idea is that I'll probably clear these for each player, so you have to get them each time to make it a little harder. But I may or may not. So for now, I'm putting this in here because I could do a current player value. We'll get to that later. But anyway, so I have my 5 UFOs. I define them, and I set them all to false. So here we have reset UFOs. And okay, so what a sub is this is like a subroutine. So what this will actually do is it's not actually doing anything right now. It is absolutely doing nothing. When you do a sub like this, it's not doing anything. We have to call that later. for it to do something. So this is saying, okay, if reset UFOs is called by some other action, what I'm going to do is, so my UFO1L, that's my light. So if I went and looked at this and clicked on this guy right here, you can see that's UFO1L. So it's saying UFO1L, put its state to 0. So 1 is on, 2 is flashing, 0 is off. So set its state to 0. So this just says if I ever call the subroutine of reset UFOs, just turn them all off. Right. So that's just something nice to have. So now let's look at actually hitting one of these things and turning it on. So we have a subroutine for UFO1, and again, that's going to be this actual target. Right? We see it's UFO1. And then the underscore hit means if this item is hit. All right, it's pretty straightforward. So if UFO1 is hit, what I want to do is turn the UFO1L to state of 1. I want to add a score, so give them 200 points. I want to check UFOs, and I want to turn UFO1 on to true. All right, so what's check UFOs? Well, what we have to think is this may be the first target, or it may be the 5th. Well, how's the system going to know, right? It's going to need to check. So what we have down here is a subroutine called check UFOs. So what this is going to say is if UFO1 state if UFO1 state 1L state is 1, so that means is light the UFO light 1 on, and like 2 is on at 3 and 4 and 5, then the UFO lock. So then it says turn on the UFO lock light. Cool, that seems pretty straightforward, right? And then what we're going to do is say, okay, the UFO light lock is true. Again, something that later on we can do it so that it remembers for each player. We want to play a sound. We want the DMD to say lock is lit, and then we want end. So that just says in this if statement, the if one that we open that said if all these things are lit, and we're done. So what I did here is I just kind of copied that. We got, change the numbers obviously, but UFO 2 is hit, do the same thing. 3 is hit, 4 is hit, 5 is hit. And each time we're checking UFOs to see if all those things are on, and then turning the UFO lock to state 1. So let's look at what the UFO lock is. Let me turn some of this stuff off so I can get in there to that light. All right. So let's see. I think it was this one. Yeah. So UFO lock is my light here, and I want to turn that on if I check all those and it's if it's ready to go. So let's look at this thing. Let's open it up. I apologize. This is on a virtual machine, which is I have only Macs, so it's not going to render correctly. But I didn't think it was going to render that bad. That's not even usable. It like degrades. It degrades as the day goes on. And it's early, so it shouldn't be this bad yet. It's just not rendering half of it. But I'll hit a couple of these things, and we'll take a look. I also have a picture light. It just won't show it really in the art. That's fine. So let's see if we can hit a target here. I give myself degrading feedback in my DMD. I also have a testing key, which we'll get to in a second here. All right, so I hit that guy. Looks like, yeah, it's not going to light these up at all, is it? Let's do this. Let's try to load it again, and I'll do my testing key. We'll talk through what a testing key is. And, oh, so I get lights this time. Neat. That's helpful. That makes this easier to talk to. So I get like half. It's only like the top half of it for some reason. Anyways, so you see I just hit that, and now we've got a light lit there. All right, let's try to hit another one. So that pizza light, there's another one. So that light's lit. And this is all those hit events we just did. Maybe one more. Yeah, so I just hit another one there. I got a death number. All right, so I actually got I got 4 out of the 5 on that ball. And you can see they reset as I'm a mean person. But all right, so let me get the ball trapped here. Actually, no, I didn't. Because I came back on. It just has to wait until I go past skill shot. Anyways, so let's see if I can just hit it. Let's just do it straight up. There it is. All right, so we've got the 5 of those, and now our UFO light should be on. Let's go again past our skill shot. Turn those lights back on. It should be on. It doesn't really look like it's on. We might need to check what that being on looks like. So let's do that. So we got our lights. So that's cool. We got those all on. They look nice. Again, pretty subtle, but trying to just keep it this kind of ancillary piece of the game. It's just fun to hit the ball around. Anyways, we got some of our emotions in there. That death bumper is sweet. Anyway, so this light should have come on. It didn't. The light state is off. The light's name's UFO lock, and that boy didn't come on. So let's look at why that might be. So let's go ahead. What I'd like to do on these, when I'm doing this, is just let's go ahead and switch it to blinking. A lot of times that makes it easier. Maybe it's just not lining up very well, or we need to up its intensity. So we're going to check this out. So we can see it there. And when that thing's lit, that thing looks pretty obvious, right? So it turns off all the lights. That's just something I currently have that I'm working on for the skill shot. But then it'll come on, right? So that looks pretty obvious. That bad boy should be firing up pretty hot, because you can tell that's lit. So let's go see what's wrong in our code. Let's go see what's wrong. This is a lot of what you're going to be doing is, let's go see what the hell is wrong. So we did spell things right, UFO lock. So let's go look. Maybe you're following along and you already know what I did wrong. So we have our check UFOs every time each one of those is hit. So that's right. And we know that that's a problem. So let's talk through this. This is actually super helpful. So if you're in this kind of a state, so we can see that this UFO 5L is kind of a light, I don't know, tannish brown color, and UFO lock is not. That's a problem, obviously. And what that means is when it shows the UFO 5L, that means that is a table element. It recognizes that is on the table. That is an element it finds. I don't have to didn't color code that. That's just saying it found it. And it's showing that it did not find this UFO lock. So that's obviously that's not good. So maybe I spelled it wrong. Let's take a look. I'm just going to go ahead and paste what I just copied. Nope. Definitely did not. Definitely didn't. I think. Let's see. All right. So, okay. So I was just double clicked on it, I guess, and then it doesn't want to go black. Anyway, so it shows it as. So, well, that was still useful for you, for you to know that if it shows that it's that brownish color, it finds it on the table. So UFO lock state 1. I'm actually going to change this to state 2 because I want it to flash because that's it's a little better. So let's see if flipping this thing back on. Let's just double check. So one thing I also like to do is just like let's double check our settings. Right, so we have a fall off of 30. I mean, we know the light itself, right? We know the lighting looks fine. We just did that test. So what we'd be looking is like the bulb. We don't have it enabled. Light is off. Timer. We're not really doing a timer on this. So 10, 20, the blink pattern, again, not really relevant to us at this point. So everything looks fine. So let's boot it back up. And we'll see if maybe it's, let's see if the table renders at all. Let's see, we got it. We got it rendering, because that's good. All right, so I have a testing key. So we'll get past skill shot. Let's turn that off. All right. We got a testing key on key number 3. And what that key does is it turns all the lights on and then checks UFOs. Because, that's pretty useful. All right, so it turned all of them on, and then it checked UFOs. So we can see the problem isn't in our light. The problem is in our check UFOs, because the light comes on, those 5 lights come on, but it's not finding that all those things are on for some reason. Well, you got to figure that out. All right. So we got to look through here. So we've got our UFOs here on the check UFOs. We've got if those states all equal 1, which they should. So UFO 2L state equals 1, UFO 3L, 4L, 5L. So a thing I like to do here, which is pretty useful, is that looks like it should be fine to me, but a lot of times, you miss something or you forget that you do something. I like to keep like another table open, one preferably that is an original, like Stranger Things, and jump into its code. So I coded in here a check for barbs and a check for escapes. So see, that's key, because like I thought it was ands, it's plus. I work in way too many coding languages, so maybe I was thinking JavaScript there or something, whatever. So it's plus. So that was really easy to figure out if you have another table open, that these ampersands are not right. They need to be pluses. Again, that crap's going to happen all the time to you while coding. So keep another table open and just, look around and go, okay, there's where I went wrong. So let's check this now. And again, see if anything renders. Hopefully it continues to render the lights, even though the rest of it seems pretty garbage, but cool, we got lights. All right, so let's get past. All right. Yeah, well, I guess maybe getting past the skill shot might be. I probably should just launch all the way. It's way better than this side rail. Wow, you suck indeed. All right, seriously, this how we're gonna play. Maybe we need to nudge it off that wall. All right, so we did the lights this time, and we still have no. We still have no flashing light. So let's try to. Yeah, let's go check again. We're checking through all these items here. Again, let's jump back over to our other table and take a look. So if on this one, which I feel like I had to do, I didn't put it then. So maybe again, my coding. No, I think I should have thens. Let's check. This should be like a check barb. Find the barb targets. Here's a check. Check the kids lane. That one has a then. I don't know why that other one didn't have a then. I'm surprised it actually works. That one I added them up. That makes more sense. So I just said the states of all of them equals 5. Let's do that. That seems pretty straightforward, because the state of them is going to be 1. So that would make a lot more sense. Let's do that. Sniffles. Apologies. All right. Let's go check that other one, make sure. So that one we just did, yeah, the state. It's 5. All right. So the state equals 5, and then do that. I mean, that seems pretty good. Okay, fingers crossed. Feel good about this one. So I'll still probably just continue to drain. All right. Choose our testing key. Oh no. So, object required for UFO lock. Objects required. So my guess is that I haven't defined 2 as flashing. So let's just hit it to 1 for now. And that's up. The where you define those states would be up in the would be up higher in the script. But let's see if Let's see if we can just get it past that. Okay, so it's saying the object is required, so it's not finding our object UFO lock. And so the problem with this that we've found here, so we named that thing UFO lock, but we also had named our lock for UFO locks to be UFO lock. That doesn't work. You can't name a table element and a dimension that you're trying to keep the same thing. It does not work. So what I would do here is name this like UFO lock light. That's much easier. That makes more sense. So we jump back in here and then change this to UFO lock light. And you can see it's going to find it there and go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes more sense. Some of these things, like, man, they just, you're like, of course, why did I do that? But, you know, you figure it out as you go. But there we go. Lock is lit. We did it. Look at us. So I turn off those lights, but you did it. I hit my testing key of 2. And it goes, oh my gosh, you did it. You lit all the lights. It found it. And the lock is lit. We are rocking and rolling. All right, so let's see. Now every time it's hitting it, it's saying lock is lit because that's in my string for the check UFO. So each time it hits one of these targets, it's going to be like, lock is lit. So we probably don't want that because that'd be obnoxious every time you're playing. What we're going to do is actually comment that out. So let's look at where that is. You can see it's right here. Lock is lit. That's annoying. Take it out. Maybe we want to do it the first time, but for now, I'm not, we're just going to take it out. And what we could do is we could set something just on if this, if this goes from 0 to 2, then do that the first time. But for now, I'm not going to worry about it. So what are we doing? We want to get that lock. We want to get that ball in that lock, right? So let's look at this. We've got this guy called C kick, which is my kicker. C kick. And so let's go in here and say, okay, if C kick is hit and UFO lock light lock is true, then it does this attribute. First off, we need to make sure that that is enabled, our C kick. So if we look here, we'll notice it's not enabled. So that's why when we were just hitting it, it wasn't sticking in there. And part of the time I just do that because that helps us, that helps us when we don't hit it and then nothing happens. So one thing we need to do is define like, okay, we got to get the ball back out of there. Because right now, if I just hit it in there, it'll just stick. It'll be there forever. And we have to exit the game. So if I was a better coder, I would know exactly how to do that off the top of my head, but I don't. So let's look at a kicker on Stranger Things. Again, this is going to be really useful to work, to work like this. So let's look at this one for the upside down. Ball escape release. So let's go look at what we do when the ball goes in there. Ball escape release. So we can see here that what it does is it creates a ball and then it kicks that ball out. So what we're actually going to want to do is just kick that ball out. So we'll do this. Kick 90. 90 is the direction and 7 is the strength. So out of 360. So let's do this. Let's take this code. Let's put it over here. And let's go ahead and kick this out. So we'll say if that thing is hit, then kick it out. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to kick it right back out. All right, we're doing that every time. We probably want to do like a delay on it in the future. Well, let's just do this for now. All right, so let me go ahead and get a ball and play. Let me go ahead and hit my testing key. So now it's ready to grab it. And now I have to make the shot. Here we go. Missed it. All right, if we can get the ball in there, then we can get this going. Easier said than done. Oh, so there it went in, and it said it's a mismatch. So we need to look at why that's a mismatch. It says UFO. It's because we didn't put this to be current player. Because again, we're looking at who the current player is and if this lock makes sense for them. So we missed out on that, and that bugged it out. So let's go and do another one, and let's make sure current player is on there. Let's get our testing key going. We'd be better at the shot, I guess. There it is. So you can see it's actually just kicking it back and forth, which is giving us UFO multiball, which we can see actually works. So that's nice. So the direction of that kick out as well. And that's all we obviously multiball. So I'll be back with another video to talk about where to go from here, and what are our next steps on this. I hope this has been helpful, and hopefully you get your multi-balls going and get some custom pinball. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.